August 16th, 1988. A day that began like any other in West Germany. The sun was shining. Little did they know, a storm was brewing. This was the day of the Gladbeck hostage crisis. The central figures in this drama were Hans-Jürgen Rosner and Dieter Degowski, two men, seemingly ordinary, harboring dangerous intentions. Their plan was simple: rob a bank. What they didn't anticipate was the chain reaction their actions would set in motion. The morning of August 16th began like any other in Gladbeck. At the Deutsche Bank branch, employees were preparing for another routine day. At approximately 8 a.m., two men entered the bank. These were Hans-Jürgen Rosner and Dieter Degowski, and they were there to rob the bank. The robbery itself was chaotic. Rosner, agitated and unpredictable, fired his weapon. The employees became hostages in their own workplace. News of the robbery spread like wildfire. As the hours dragged on, the atmosphere inside the bank became thick with fear and uncertainty. Outside, the city of Gladbeck held its breath. The siege had become the only topic of conversation. Negotiators managed to establish a fragile line of communication with Rosner. He demanded a getaway car, cash and safe passage. Tensions ran high as authorities tried to de-escalate the situation. Every word uttered, every decision made, carried the weight of the hostages' lives. After hours of agonizing negotiations, Rosner and Degowski decided to make their move. They demanded a white BMW as part of their escape plan. With hostages Silke and Inez in tow, they made their way out of the bank and into the waiting vehicle. The escape, chaotic and reckless, was broadcast live on television. Millions watched, captivated and horrified, as the white BMW sped through the streets of Gladbeck. The scene was surreal. A bizarre spectacle that blurred the lines between reality and a Hollywood action film. The car chase captivated the nation. As the white BMW sped across the German countryside, another force was being drawn into the unfolding drama: the media. News crews, alerted to the crisis, were in hot pursuit, their cameras capturing every twist and turn of the chase. Reporters, eager for exclusive interviews and dramatic footage, began to close in on the fleeing vehicle. The hostage-takers, initially wary of the media attention, soon began to relish their newfound notoriety. Rosner, emboldened by the attention, began to play to the cameras. The media had inadvertently become a participant in the hostage drama. For Silke Bischoff and Ines Voigtler, the bank robbery had been a sudden, terrifying intrusion into their ordinary lives. Now, trapped in the back of a speeding car, they were caught in a whirlwind of fear and uncertainty. The days that followed were a surreal and terrifying ordeal for the young women. They were at the mercy of their captors, their lives hanging by a thread. Despite the terror and uncertainty, Silke and Ines clung to hope. They tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy, engaging their captors in conversation. As the hours turned into days, a strange and unsettling dynamic began to emerge between the captors and the captives. Rosner would often draw Silke and Inez into conversations, sharing details of his life. Degowski, though quieter, seemed to develop a strange rapport with the young women. The term Stockholm Syndrome was often used to describe the complex psychological relationship that can develop between hostages and their captors. The lines between victim and perpetrator can become blurred. Behind the sensational headlines and the dramatic television footage, there were two young women living through a nightmare. Silke Bischoff, at just 18 years old, was full of life, with dreams of a future cut short. Ines Voigtler, 21, found herself thrust into a terrifying ordeal. Their stories are a stark reminder of the human cost of crime. They remind us that behind every headline there are real people whose lives have been irrevocably altered. As the Gladbeck hostage crisis unfolded, the weight of the nation's gaze fell heavily on the shoulders of German law enforcement. The eyes of the world were watching, scrutinizing every move. The pressure to resolve the situation peacefully was immense. The police were faced with an unprecedented situation. The authorities were walking a tightrope, trying to maintain order, negotiate with criminals, and protect the public. The stakes were incredibly high, and the outcome would have far-reaching consequences. Negotiating with hostage takers is a delicate and dangerous dance. It requires a unique set of skills, empathy, patience, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. In the Gladbeck hostage crisis, negotiators faced the added challenge of dealing with two captors. Rosner, volatile and unpredictable, proved to be a formidable adversary. Degowski, though quieter, was easily influenced by his partner. The Gladbeck hostage crisis highlighted the complexities of hostage negotiation and the need for clear communication and coordinated action. A tragic turning point, the death of Emmanuel. On August 18th, the Gladbeck hostage crisis took a tragic turn, a turn that would forever stain the memory of the event and cast a long shadow over the media's role in the unfolding drama. While stopped in a traffic jam, Rosner and Degowski, their nerves frayed, decided to switch vehicles, taking their hostages with them. It was during this chaotic transfer that tragedy struck. A young boy, 9-year-old Emanuele Di Giorgi, was sitting in the back of his family's car when the hostage takers approached. In the ensuing confusion and panic, a shot rang out, fatally wounding the young boy. Emanuele's death sent shockwaves through Germany and beyond. The hostage crisis, which had already captivated the nation, now took on a new and heartbreaking dimension. The death of an innocent child caught in the crossfire of a media spectacle forced a nation to confront the human cost of the drama unfolding before their eyes. The blame game began almost immediately. The hostage takers, of course, bore the ultimate responsibility for Emanuele's death. However, questions were also raised about the role of the media, whose relentless pursuit of the story, some argued, had created a climate of chaos and emboldened the hostage takers. Emanuele's death became a tragic turning point in the Gladbeck hostage crisis, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked violence. It also served as a harsh indictment of the media's role in the crisis, raising uncomfortable questions about journalistic ethics and the boundaries of responsible reporting. The Fourth Estate under fire scrutiny of media conduct. The tragic death of Emanuele Di Giorgi cast a long shadow over the Gladbeck hostage crisis. The media, initially a distant observer, now found itself at the center of criticism. Had the media's relentless pursuit of the story contributed to the tragedy? Critics argued that the media's presence emboldened the hostage takers. The crisis sparked a debate about journalistic ethics and responsibilities. The events of August 1988 forever altered media and law enforcement relations in Germany. The Gladbeck hostage crisis highlighted the unsettling relationship between hostage takers and the press. Criminals see the media as a powerful ally, amplifying their message and exerting control. For Rosner and Degowski, media attention was intoxicating. They reveled in the spotlight, issuing demands while holding hostages. The media was drawn to the drama, blurring lines between news and entertainment. This relationship came at a price, arguably exacerbating the situation. The Gladbeck crisis forced a reassessment of journalistic ethics and responsible reporting. The Gladbeck hostage crisis was a watershed moment for journalism in Germany and beyond. It sparked a fierce debate about the ethics of reporting on hostage situations, the role of the media in shaping public perception, and the delicate balance between the public's right to know and the potential harm that can be caused by unchecked media sensationalism. In the aftermath of the crisis, media outlets faced a barrage of criticism, accused of prioritizing sensationalism over responsible reporting, of exploiting a tragedy for profit, and of inadvertently contributing to the deaths of innocent people. The crisis forced the industry to confront uncomfortable truths about its own practices and its impact on the events it covered. The German Press Council, the country's self-regulatory body for print media, issued a series of guidelines for reporting on hostage situations, emphasizing the need for restraint, for verifying information before publication, and for avoiding any actions that could jeopardize the safety of hostages or hinder the work of law enforcement. The Gladbeck hostage crisis served as a stark reminder that journalism is not a victimless profession. The words we write, the images we broadcast have the power to inform, to inspire, but also to incite, to endanger, and to cause irreparable harm. The lessons learned from Gladbeck continue to resonate today, serving as a cautionary tale about the importance of journalistic ethics, the need for responsible reporting, and the potential consequences of unchecked media sensationalism. The Gladbeck hostage crisis, a three-day ordeal that gripped a nation, finally came to an end on August 19, 1988, on a desolate stretch of Autobahn near the Dutch border. The white BMW, carrying the exhausted hostages and their increasingly desperate captors, had become a symbol of fear, uncertainty, and the insatiable appetite of a media frenzy. The final moments of the crisis were as chaotic and unpredictable as the events that had preceded them. A shootout erupted, leaving Rosner wounded and Degowski subdued. Silke Bischoff and Ines Voigtler, physically unharmed but forever scarred by their ordeal, were finally free. The nation breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the scars of that summer ran deep. The joy of the hostages' release was tempered by the profound sadness over the loss of innocent lives, the lingering trauma, and the unsettling questions about the role the media had played in the unfolding drama. The trial of Rosner and Degowski, which began the following year, was a media spectacle in itself, a cathartic exercise for a nation still grappling with the events of that summer. Both men were found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison, their names forever etched in the annals of criminal history. The Gladbeck hostage crisis forced Germany to confront uncomfortable truths about itself, about the power of the media, and about the fragility of life in a world increasingly defined by spectacle and sensationalism. The Gladbeck hostage crisis was a watershed moment for journalism in Germany. Newsrooms across the country faced introspection. Journalists and media executives confronted their role and accountability. The German Press Council launched an inquiry into the media's conduct. The inquiry concluded that journalistic duty must be balanced against safety and integrity. The Gladbeck crisis led to media reforms and new guidelines for reporting. It sparked a debate about the role of media and press freedom. The lessons from Gladbeck served as a cautionary tale for journalists worldwide. The events of August 1988 forced a re-evaluation of journalistic practices. Time, as it tends to do, has marched on, but the memory of the Gladbeck hostage crisis endures. The events of that summer, seared into the collective memory of a nation, serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of crime, the enduring impact of trauma, and the importance of learning from the past. We remember Emanuele Di Giorgi, a young boy whose life was tragically cut short. His story, a symbol of innocence lost, stands as a stark reminder of the indiscriminate nature of violence and the devastating ripple effects of such senseless acts. We remember Silke Bischoff and Ines Voigtler, who endured the unimaginable. Their courage and resilience in the face of terror, their determination to rebuild their lives, serve as a testament to the strength of the human spirit. The Gladbeck hostage crisis, for all its horror, also revealed glimmers of hope. It highlighted the bravery of law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line to protect others. It showcased the compassion of ordinary citizens who offered support and comfort to the victims and their families. The Gladbeck hostage crisis, a dark chapter in German history, continues to offer valuable lessons. It underscores the importance of vigilance, the need for effective law enforcement, and the crucial role of a responsible and accountable media. It reminds us that while we cannot erase the past, we can learn from it, striving to create a safer, more just and compassionate world for ourselves and for generations to come.